Welcome to my channel, guys. I wasn't posting for a while, but I have decided to finally post another video. Very useful video. I want to tell you my story, how I moved from Ukraine to Canada and how everything changed in my life towards positive and negative. Please subscribe to my channel. Leave your comment if you experienced something similar, if you recently moved from a different country or possibly even Ukraine to Canada, and just give me your thoughts about how your life has been. Did you miss your home country? Is there anything possibly that you would change in Canada to the better, or maybe everything is just fabulous the way it is? But please stay tuned till the end, because I promise this is very interesting, and especially given that it's my personal story that is not easy to just give out to millions and millions of people. And I'm willing to do this because I feel that like lots of Canadians are asking the same question. How does it really feel for a Ukrainian to live in Canada right now, especially during war, especially when everything is going down in Ukraine and lots of people lost their homes, lots of people don't know what's going to be tomorrow and what tomorrow will hold. So this type of video is very important to give you guys my perspective of a Ukrainian who is living in Canada, and really how everything has been for me so far. I was born in western part of Ukraine in a city called Lviv, which is often called a little Paris of Europe. And it's called Little Paris of Europe not just because some people named it Little Paris of Europe. It truly is a beautiful city, and a city that I would always recommend to all of my friends to come and visit. But unfortunately, because of the war, Ukraine is not being visited by a lot of tourists at the moment, and lots of Ukrainians have fled their country. About 7 million Ukrainians currently live in different European countries, and about 300,000 Ukrainians have fled to Canada. And Canada has been very welcoming. Canada has supported Ukrainians as much as they could, and I cannot be more thankful than I am, and I will never forget the generosity of Canadians and how Canadians have supported my people, how Canadians treated Ukrainians, and how Canadians keep supporting Ukrainians and Canadian government as well. It means a lot to Ukrainians. Ukrainians have lost everything they had, lots of them at least. They lost their cities, they lost their homes, which they worked for entire lives for. They lost their vehicles. Even if the war will end, most of those people have nowhere to come back. Just think about it for a second. They don't have anywhere to come back even if the war will end. How scary it is. Some people who I talked to personally were telling me these horrible stories about they just bought their apartments. They just bought their apartment of their dreams. And after Russia invaded Ukraine and started invading Ukraine, they have lost their apartment building. They have lost everything they worked for their entire life. So it's truly hurts for Ukrainians to leave their home, and they never wanted to leave. They wanted to stay in Ukraine, but because of these circumstances, Ukrainians had to flee, and this is exactly why it's important to support and keep supporting Ukraine. Like I mentioned already, when I was born in Lviv, it was a beautiful city. It is a beautiful city, but currently it's not affected by war as much as other Ukrainian cities. But still, here and there are issues and there are bombings, which is unfortunately there's no safe place in Ukraine. And Lviv has been very interesting city to grow up in. I went to English school where teachers were teaching me to speak English. So when I immigrated to Canada, I was only 11 years of age, just about to turn 11 years of age with my parents, and it was back in 2005. When we moved here, everything was so different from Ukraine. Trust me, when I say different, I truly mean it. Canadian life is just completely different from how Ukrainians live their lives. Ukraine is more compact as a country. So what it means is even cities are smaller, and people live mostly in apartments. And when people live in apartments, it tends to create obviously more people on the streets because people have to move around. Some people don't use vehicles. Some people use public transportations. So there's always this movement. There's There's nowhere to go because you will always find somebody walking around. Here in Canada, when I came here with my parents, I was shocked. There are some streets where there's no people at all. I was walking my dog, I was just walking around in the neighborhood. Sometimes you don't even see anybody, and it's in a big city that has over 1 million plus residents. That was very shocking to me, and I'm more than sure shocking to a lot of newcomers from Ukraine who come and change everything completely. But it's not for the worst, it's actually for the better, because this creates more freedom for people. People can feel more freely. People sometimes need the personal space, and here in Canada I found this personal space. Sometimes I like to just go out, go for a walk, and don't see anybody at all. I just want to be by myself with my own thoughts. So Canada gave me this opportunity and this option. As well as I didn't know English very well. I knew a few words. I went to English speaking school, of course, but it wasn't the same. When I actually came here and went to school, it was very hard to really establish myself in the system, finally feel comfortable with even trying to speak English, because I knew my English was bad. I knew I had a big accent and I couldn't even put two words together properly, but I had to at some point start to speak. So I keep telling my friends always who come from Ukraine to just never be scared. You guys have to speak even if you think that it's wrong. Just speak, because that's the only way you guys can learn, and people can learn by speaking, by practicing, and that's exactly what I did. But when I came here, it was also very difficult to just completely settle down. I didn't have friends. Everything was like very cold. It felt cold because it's a different country. It's not easy, and a lot of my Canadian friends, they don't understand, unfortunately, the aspects of actually moving to a different country. And when you're moving to a different country, you're leaving a small piece of yourself back home, back in Ukraine. And that small piece still, believe it or not, still lies back home. It never caught up with me. It's still there. It's still somewhere in Ukraine, in the village, on the streets of Lviv. It's still there, and I cannot find it, and I cannot reconnect it back to myself, because it is extremely difficult. Because every time somebody is leaving their home country, you're leaving piece of yourself behind. So this is why immigration is so difficult and is not easy, and it's very important to have support. It's very important that Canada and Canadian people are so welcoming, and they're opening their doors for immigrants. They're helping immigrants to feel like home, and not feel discriminated, not feel that that we are not welcome. So it's very important to give credit back to Canadian people for what they're doing on daily basis for all of the immigrants. Immigrants are important to Canada, but as well as people who welcome immigrants, Canadians themselves are important, because they tend to be okay with this and tend to help people feel like home. They don't feel threatened. They don't feel that they're not supposed to be here. And this is so much easier for adaptation and the general adaptivity to life. So my journey in Canada so far has been very welcoming, very beautiful, and it keeps getting better. So I hope that this video helped you guys understand a little bit more about how it feels really to be an immigrant, to be Ukrainian, especially during these hard times for Ukraine, and nobody even knows what will happen in the future and how everything will turn out. But the most important is what we have now, what lies in our hearts, and that Canada remains a country where everybody are welcome. And this creates very harmonic and beautiful feeling for all of the immigrants and Canadians. And especially, I truly believe that immigrants are supposed to abide by law. Immigrants are supposed to work, pay taxes, and help grow Canadian economy, because this is what Canada is. We are stronger together. We are the true, strong, and free. So thank you so much for listening to my video. Thank you so much for still being here if you are. And I will be posting a lot of new different types of videos about my experience, about what's happening in Canada from a perspective from a Ukrainian. So I hope that this will be very, very interesting and motivating for you guys to click that subscribe button, and please support me. Thank you so much, and have yourself a wonderful rest of your day.